One has to remember, it's the 1990s. Subaru wasn't exactly what it is now. To even think that an offering from Fuji Heavy Industries was priced around $35,000 brand new, and it be badged as a Subaru, was something quite fantastical. So with the SVX, or Subaru Vehicle 10, or X, what we do have is a well-engineered 2+2 sports coupe with enough performance, technology, and luxury accoutrements to make that price seem anything less but excessive, even from a Subaru. It is a luxury car, as Car and Driver even said that it deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as the Acura Legend, Lexus SC300, or even the Cadillac Eldorado. Motor Trend mentioned that it's also a sports car with its high 0.92G skidpad rating approaching that of the Corvette ZR1 and Acura NSX. Quite simply, the SVX has no equal. Marketed in worldwide markets, the SVX was part of the Alcyone line, which included the zany XT6 from the 1980s. Alcyone is the name for the Eta Tauri, or the brightest star in the Pleiades cluster within the Taurus constellation, which makes up the Subaru logo. Our SVX was built for the Canadian market and imported to the States. The SVX was produced from the 1992 to 1997 model year over a single generation with front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive configurations. Our all-wheel drive SVX LSI was built at the Ota North plant in the Ota Gunma Prefecture in Japan in December of 1993. Hey everybody, we are here at Lulu Motor Cars in Indianapolis, Indiana on Mass Ave, and I am really stunned at what I'm looking at right now, and I hope you guys are too. Today we are taking an in-depth walk-around review look at this very nice and very well equipped 1994 Subaru SVX. Today's SVX is painted in Barcelona red, and it is the two-tone gloss black. Features the light beige leather interior, and these cars came very well equipped from the factory. Its full pricing is shown on screen, but there are no options on this vehicle as they are all standard equipment. As stated before, today's review is going to be a very in-depth review. We're going to go over everything from the exterior to the interior, mechanical, performance, and everything else in between. As stated previously, our SVX is equipped with Subaru's variable torque distribution variant of their symmetrical all-wheel drive system. As an active system, it varied the torque split to the rear infinitely based on several inputs as a percentage of the torque available to the directly geared front wheels, never to exceed the theoretical full lock of 50% rear bias. Power came from the 3.3-liter horizontally opposed EG33 dual overhead cam 24-valve flat 6 engine. This engine was constructed of aluminum block and heads and features computer-controlled electronic multi-port fuel injection and a 10-to-1 compression ratio. This engine creates 230 horsepower at 5,400 RPM and 224 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. Road and Track road tested their SVX from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 7.3 seconds. 0 to 100 miles per hour came in 18.2 seconds, with a quarter mile in 15.4 seconds at 92.5 miles per hour. Its top speed was estimated around 143 miles per hour. All SVXs were equipped with an 18.5 US gallon fuel capacity and consumed 5.6 gallons per 100 miles driven, with the estimated total driving range of around 333 miles. EPA fuel economy figures are 15 miles per gallon in the city, 23 miles per gallon on the highway, and a combined average of 18 miles per gallon. Due to Subaru not having a manual transmission capable of handling the power and torque figures of the engine at the time, the only available transmission was an electronically controlled 4-speed 4EAT automatic transmission. It featured automatic normal and power drive modes based upon throttle input velocities and manual shift capabilities by pressing the manual shift button on the side of the lever and flicking the lever through the 1 through 3 positions, ultimately landing in the drive position. And as we walk around the rear of the SVX, we will look at it in a little bit more detail. As you can see here though, very low profile. Doesn't look anything like Subaru ever offered before. It actually looks more like a two-door Citroen XM. Alrighty, around the rear of the SVX, as you can see, a very striking appearance back here, especially with that two-tone paint treatment. Very low profile tail lamps. Large bubble style glass windows here. Excellent greenhouse, excellent visibility. The rear windows even roll down. That whole black continues back here into the rear spoiler. Great contrast with this Barcelona red. Nice large tail lamps here. Amber turn indicators there, but then your tail lamps continue in here. You do have reverse lamps here, and of course the Subaru SVX logo right there. Taking a look down below, you do have dual wide-tipped exhaust. You've also got 2 recovery hooks as well. Your all-wheel drive insignia there. As you walk along the profile of the vehicle, as stated before, it was designed by Giugiaro, and the XM itself actually was designed by Bertone, but the cars look very similar. I do love the large sweeping bifolded windows there. What that does is actually it gives you a huge amount of greenhouse, excellent visibility all around, and yes, these back windows actually do roll down as well. As you would expect, you would think there would be glass on this roof, but it's actually all metal. It does have a sunroof, however. As we take a look at the profile, you'll see the dimensions on screen. It is a very low profile car. It's just an excellent design. I think Subaru did a fantastic job on this. It's a very obscure car. Not very many were sold, and so it goes down in history as one of the underrated and unknown cars. Steering on the SVX LSI all-wheel drive model is electronically assisted vehicle speed sensitive variable rate rack and pinion specific to this trim. It features 3.1 turns lock to lock and a 35.4 foot turning radius. Wheels on this car are silver painted 5-spoke 16 by 7.5 inch aluminum shot in 225 50 R16 Yokohama Advanced S4 all-season tires. Brakes are hydraulically assisted 4-wheel disc brakes assisted by 4-channel ABS. Up front, we have 11.9 inch ventilated rotors with 2 piston calipers, with the rears being 11.4 inch solid rotors and single piston sliding calipers. The brakes can halt the SVX from 70 miles per hour to 0 in approximately 182 feet. Alright, looking around the front, as you'll see in detail here in a minute, very low profile, very wedge shape, due in part in design of that flat 6 engine. Alright, looking around the front of the SVX, as stated before, it doesn't really look like anything Subaru ever had. It looks more like a Citroen, actually. Almost like an XM, really. The low profile and the wedge shape is due to the flat 6 engine. Very low profile there. As you can see, just like we saw from the rear, we do have the large expansive greenhouse. Side view mirrors that fold in. All the way down to the sculpted hood line here. Goes all the way down to these very low profile headlamps here. You do have dark bezels inside, but they do have incandescent turn indicators. Halogen projector beam headlamps. You do have this clear lens part here. You do have the Subaru logo right here. Alright, now before we get inside, let's take a look at what you get as far as keys are concerned. This must be aftermarket, but you do have remote transmitter here. So you have lock, unlock, you have your panic, and you have remote start. This does have remote start as an option, but not from the factory. What you did get was the Subaru key. Just a standard key from Subaru. The car is actually unlocked, so we're going to go ahead and open up the doors and check it out. Now, the interior is nowhere near as exotic as the exterior, but it's still a very well-designed cockpit. Very driver-oriented. As you can see, it is that beige interior. It is full leather, but you also have this suede or Alcantara on the doors and on the dashboard. Looks really, really nice. It's all soft touch vinyls here. You do have a lot of burl walnut harvested from the plastic forest. We do have the door pulls here and power window controls here. Auto one touch down for the drivers. This is your power window lockout. Down below, you do have a speaker. As you can see, that Alcantara comes all the way down the profile of the door panel to the back here where you have a little light there. But notice the absence of matte pockets. Alright, on the driver's side instrument panel, there are various controls. Up here you do have fog lamp controls, your cruise control master switch. You do have multifunction controls here, parking lights, heated mirror, or yeah, the heated mirrors and your power mirror controls here. Two controls here on the steering wheel. This one here is for your tilt. This one here is for your telescope. Alright, down in the footwell, as you can see, and as stated before, only 2 pedals indicating that this is an automatic vehicle, and that's for a reason. As stated before, you also have your hood release here. And in the floor, we have our trunk release here, fuel door release here, and we have power seats here. And speaking of the seats, let's take a look at them real quick. Very comfortable, very supportive. They're high back bucket seats with high adjustable head restraints. Leather is in very, very good shape here. No splits or tears or anything like that. The seats are also heated. We'll show those controls here in a minute. As you can see here, you do have this adjustable frame here for easy entry and exit to the rear seat. Alright, now that we're inside, let's pan through the interior. We're going to show more details. As stated before, it does have vehicle speed sensitive, hydraulically assisted power steering on a leather wrapped 4-spoke steering wheel. Very unimaginative in its design, however. I kind of expected it to be a little bit more, but it does have the airbag in there. Driver and passenger side airbag in a 1994, which is kind of, it was uncommon back then. Horn buttons here. Multifunction switch here is your headlamp control, panel brightness and dim, turn signal and flash to pass and high beams. And over here on the right hand side controls your front and rear wiper washer controls. As stated before, we do have some buttons here. Cruise control master switch here, fog lamp control here. Over here we do have the rear defroster and the 4-way flashers. And down here we have our heated seat controls for the driver and passenger. And here we have our cruise control. Alright, taking a look at the instrument cluster, one would expect for a car of a sporty character like this to have a full complement of gauges, but even Motor Week would say that we're lacking voltage and oil pressure. Anyway, what we do have is a coolant temperature gauge. We do have a driver diagnostic area here that will show like low oil and stuff like that. 9,000 RPM tach with a 6,500 RPM red line. A 260 kilometer per hour speedometer, which is actually 160 mile per hour. This car came from Canada, and at the time of the recording, this vehicle currently has 195,772 kilometers. This area down here is just a bank of warning lamps. Over here we have door status, hood status, all that kind of stuff, and a fuel gauge. Alrighty, moving over the top of the dash, as you can see, it is still in very, very nice shape. It has held up well over the passage of time. The vinyl has not split or cracked or anything like that. It's not warped. However, the Alcantara has faded over time. That's to be expected due to the dyes. But the Alcantara is actually really nice. It's got a French seam here, goes all the way down the door panel, flows really nicely into the armrest. And as you can see, even the glove box door here is covered in Alcantara. Alright, let's take a look at the center dash. Now there's a ton of burl walnut trim similar to that on the doors. It is harvested from the plastic forest, but it actually looks decent. It looks like a touring car. Up here we do have a couple positional air vents. We have a clock here. Here we have our temperature controller. I'm not sure if you can see it. It is in Celsius, but you just tap the button and you can raise and lower that temperature, and a digital readout inside tells you what the temperature is. Right now it's at 18 degrees Celsius, and that's the lowest it can go. Now these are our climate controls, off, auto, and economy. We also have our front defroster, vent and recirculate. Your outside temperature display, right now it's 34 degrees Celsius. And then here is our fan speed, so we have low, medium, and high. And you may be wondering, well, where in the world is the radio in this car? It's a nice car, it's a touring car, it should have a good sound system. Well, look no further than in here. And what we have in here is actually a very nice AM/FM cassette player and CD player. It is a Panasonic system, controlled by Subaru, or designed by Subaru, and it is a logic control with Dolby Digital Audio and Dolby Noise Reduction. But we have a bunch of different controls here for the CD player and the tape player and the AM/FM radio. Cigar lighter here, and behind this door here, door number 2, is our ashtray. Moving down, we do have a beige leather trimmed shift lever here. It does have manual control here as shown before. Door lock switches here. and our various prindles here. Here we have a flyaway style brake handbrake here. As you can see, it has the same lever as the almost the same lever as the shift lever. It is vinyl, but it does have faux stitching here. This has a nice touch. Nice tall center console here. Opens up to reveal some storage inside the armrest. It is a flow-through center console all the way to the back seat, as you can see there. Just overall, just a very nice, comfortable interior, even today's standards. It doesn't have a lot of features that you're expecting in a car of today, but man, it was well equipped back in the 90s. A lot of this stuff would have cost a ton of money in options. What we don't have overhead, we don't have an automatic dimming rearview mirror, but it is a manually dimming rearview mirror. And overhead, we do have overhead reading lights. We've also got room light and spotlights and our power sunroof controls. No glass in the sunroof, just a metal panel. And we have sun visors here. They're a nice thick velour cloth. They do have an illuminated covered vanity mirror here. When it closes, it just turns the light off. Now, the sun visors do swing out, but they do not slide out. So they do not cover, they only cover about half that window. You do have overhead assist handles, however. And as I stated before, excellent outward visibility, but no high adjustable seat belts either. Alright, now let's do the fun thing and let's get in the back seat. It's kind of a two-step process, but it's nothing really hard. You just fold this down, lift this lever up here. Now, because we have a power seat up here, it's not going to slide forward or anything like that. But here's what you have as far as the back seat is concerned. What we have back here is a 50-50 split folding back seat. It does have height adjustable head restraints back here. Only room for 2 passengers. As you can see, you do have that center console back here. It goes all the way to the rear seats, so there's no middle seat there, and you'll also notice the lack of seat belts. Also take note, the Alcantara trim back here continues in the rear armrest as well, so the passengers also have that same material. You also have a power window switch back here, and more of that burled walnut. As you can see back here, even the seats in the back are in pretty nice shape. However, there are no cup holders or anything like that. Now to get back here, if you want to fold the seats, it's super easy to do. At first I never knew how to do this because I've only seen one SVX in my life. But underneath the headrest there's a little button. Press that button and the seats fold. Now you'll have to make sure your front seat is up, but as you can see, they do fold flat with direct entry to the cargo compartment. Same way with this one. Works the exact same way. To gain access to the trunk, just here in the footwell, you just lift this lever up here. It'll unlatch the trunk. You can also use the key, just stick it in the keyhole like you would a normal car and just turn it. But it's already unlatched, so we're just going to go ahead and open the trunk as we normally would. The trunk is supported by 2 hydraulic struts, and back here we've also got a filler bottle for the rear wiper washer control. But as you can see, the trunk is actually fully lined and fully carpeted. You can see the seat backs there. They do fold down as showed before. But as you can see, it's a pretty decent amount of luggage space back here. Underneath here is where you would have your spare tire with the jack and tools. It doesn't look like this car has it. But as you can see, just a nice load flat floor. Nice amount of storage. Alright, and that does conclude our in-depth walk-around review of the 1994 Subaru SVX. We hope you found the review informative, and if you did, please comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/neighborhoodcarreviews and Instagram at BrensoJ1. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.